Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to Home Together. It's been a little
Yep.
while, but we're so pleased to be able to be doing this again.
Yeah, it's great to be back with you. Hi there.
Stuart, do you mind my
Yes.
asking, what
No, feel free.
was that before? You on the river?
Oh, on the river. Oh, yes. No, I was finally getting to test the coracle that I made with my son a few years ago, and we've hardly ever used it. So the river had gone down after the recent floods, and I thought, well, nice day. I'll give it a go. Yeah.
Great. Good. Right. What on earth is a coracle?
Oh, sorry. Yes, no, a coracle is a very ancient, a very ancient form of craft, a boat, really. Very simple, as I say. Patrick and I made it together. I've got it in the garden now. I could give you another close look at it.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, please.
Okay, I'll just switch camera if I can do that. And here we go. Yeah, it's just out there. So basically, Mark, there it is. A coracle is originally I think they were like a woven basket.
Okay.
So you could make it with willow, or what you would normally make a basket with. This one's actually made with wooden strips, but you can see how they're kind of woven together, in and out to make a little structure with an edge to it. And there's a little seat, and then the whole thing is very light, so it's quite easy to carry from place to place. Very shallow. It goes in shallow water, and the whole thing, I can just turn it over. The whole thing has been covered in canvas, and that's had tar put on it to make it waterproof. So basically, it's a waterproof basket. The only, as you may have seen on the river, the only problem with them is that it's round at both ends. It's actually quite difficult to steer, is the only thing. You need a lot of practice, but it's great fun. So there we are, a waterproof basket,
Waterproof basket. Stuart, that's very interesting, because the story we're going to tell in this episode actually involves someone in a river in a waterproof basket.
Oh yes, so it does. Yes. Oh, that's a great story. I'm looking forward to you telling that one. Yeah.
So am I. But before we get to it, let's have our challenge. For today's challenge, you will need 2 bowls or other containers and a spoon. The challenge is to move something from one container to the other as fast as possible. You could use rice, pasta, sweets. If you wanted to make this messy, you could even use water. I am going to use some cereal. If you're doing this on your own, you could see how much you can move in 30 seconds and see if you can beat it yourself. If you've got other people in your house, maybe you could see who could move the most in the least amount of time. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Well, I didn't think I did too badly, even if I did make a bit of a mess. See how you get on, and why don't you let us know on the Facebook page?
Well, Mark, that looked like fun. I'll have a think about what I could try to use to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. You'll have to show us how you got on the Facebook page, Stuart.
Oh, yes, I must do that, actually. I keep forgetting. The Facebook page is a great way, isn't it, to share what we're getting up to during these home-togethers. Yeah.
Definitely. Should we get on with our story?
Oh, please do. That'd be great. Yeah.
Great. Here we go. The things that happen in our story today are written about right at the beginning of the Bible. Many years before, God had made a promise to a man called Abraham that his family would become a great nation, a huge number of people, and that he would give them a land to live in and call their own. They had an agreement. He would be their God, and they would be his people. Abraham's grandson was called Joseph. And at the time of Joseph, the people ended up living in Egypt. If you want to find out more about his story, you can follow the link in the description below to an episode where we find out what happened to him. Now, many, many years have passed. Abraham's family have become a great nation, known as the Israelites. But there's a problem. They're still living in Egypt, and the king of Egypt, known as the Pharaoh, has made them work as his slaves. At this point, there were now so many Israelites that even though they were slaves, the Pharaoh was afraid of them. He was terrified that there were so many people now that they would become too powerful and he would not be able to control them. So he gave a terrible order that any baby boy born to the Israelites would be got rid of. One Israelite lady, who was recently married, became pregnant. And when the baby was born, it was a boy. Afraid of losing her son, she kept him hidden for 3 long months. And when she could no longer hide him safely, she placed him in a waterproofed basket. Then she put it in the tall grass that grew on the banks of the River Nile. The baby boy's sister was not far away. She wanted to see what would happen to him. Now it happened that the Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river for a bath. When she saw the basket, she asked one of her servants to get it for her. When she looked inside, she saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Israelite babies," she said. Then his sister spoke up. "Would you like me to get one of the Israelite women who could look after him for you?" "Yes, go," she answered. So the girl went and got the baby's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and feed him for me. I'll pay you." So the woman took the baby and fed him until he was old enough to go and stay with the Pharaoh's daughter. When the child grew older, he was taken to live with the Pharaoh's daughter. He became her son. She called him Moses, and he grew up as a prince in the royal Egyptian household. Moses grew up. One day, he went out to where his own people, the Israelites, were. He watched them while they were hard at work. While he was doing this, he saw an Egyptian beating one of the Israelites. The man was one of Moses' own people. Angry at seeing this happen, Moses looked round to check no one was watching, and then he killed the Egyptian man. But Pharaoh found out what had happened, and he was incredibly angry. He tried to get rid of Moses. But Moses ran away. He escaped, and he went to live in another land. In the land of Midian, many years passed. Moses got married and spent his time looking after sheep. After a long time, the king of Egypt died, and there was a new Pharaoh. Yet the people of Israel groaned, because they were still slaves. They also cried out to God. God heard their groans and their cries. He hadn't forgotten his agreement with Abraham. So God looked on the Israelites and cared for them. One day, as Moses was leading his sheep through the desert, he saw an incredible thing. There was a bush that was on fire, but it didn't burn up. And then God spoke to Moses from inside the bush. "Moses, Moses!" "Here I am," Moses said. "I am the God of Abraham. I have seen how my people are suffering in Egypt. I have heard them cry out and groan. So I will save them from the Egyptians. I will bring them out of that land and into a good land where they can live. So now you must go. I am sending you to Pharaoh. I want you to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. They are my people." But Moses spoke to God. "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? I'm not good enough to bring the Israelites out of Egypt." But God said, "I will be with you." "But what if they ask me what your name is? What should I tell them?" "I am the God of Abraham. I am who I am." Moses answered, What if the people won't believe me? What if they won't listen to me?" So God gave him some signs to prove that he had really been sent by him. But Moses had another problem. "Lord, God, I've never been a good speaker. I don't speak very well at all." God said to him, "I will help you speak. I will teach you what to say." But Moses said, "God, please send someone else to do it." Then God became cross with Moses. He said, "What about your brother Aaron? I know he can speak well. He will go with you. I will help both of you to speak. I will teach both of you what to do. I will be with you as you go back to Egypt."
Well, that really was a great story. It's got some very interesting parts to it, from the beginning with the baby in the basket, right away through to what happened at the end, which I thought was very interesting. And what an interesting character Moses grew up to be and is now at this point in the story. Fascinating, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This story makes me wonder a whole lot of things and leaves me with lots of questions. We've got some questions now to help us think through what's going on at this part of the story. As we go through these questions, if you'd like to stop and think about them or talk about them together, you can pause the video after each one, or you can just sit and wonder with us as we go.
Yeah, my first thought was, Mark, thinking about what a fascinating character Moses is. I wonder what would be the best words that we could use to describe Moses, the kind of man that he's become.
And I wonder, why do you think God chose Moses particularly to do this job?
Now, we haven't told you what happens next, but if Moses does go back, I wonder what the Israelites, his fellow people, I wonder what they're going to think about him, think of him.
Now, we know that Moses felt like he wasn't really good enough to do what God had asked him, to go back to Egypt. But God promised that he would be with Moses to help him. Now, we all have sometimes that we feel that we're not good enough to do something that we know we should do, or that we think we need to do. Moses found, as many Christians today still believe, that God can give strength. God can put other helpful people around us to help us when things are too difficult and we don't feel strong enough.
And you might be somebody who would know enough to be able to trust in God, but this is a question for all of us, isn't it? I wonder who or what helps you when you find things are too difficult for you to do, or you know what you should do, but you don't feel good enough to do it. I wonder who helps you.
Interesting questions. And I hope you've had some interesting thoughts on those. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this part of this episode. In a moment, we're going to have an activity that you can have a go at home. But for now, it's bye from us.
Yeah, goodbye from me. Look forward to seeing you next time that we can get together. Great.
Bye.
Well, hi, welcome back everybody. It's good to be back together. We've got a wee activity today because sadly we can't pop out and deliver you packs this time. You are going to have to go outside and be a little bit creative. Now, you might have some good things to collect in your garden. It might be that you want to take a little walk with your grown-up and see what you can find. But because today's story was all about Moses and he was found in that basket on the river, we thought today's challenge might be quite nice to go out, collect some things in nature, some sticks or some leaves or whatever you can find, and create a little raft that you can then float maybe on a little bowl of water outside or in your sink or your basin. Set up a little pond and see if you can get your raft floating. You might even have a little person like some of those people in our story that you could try and balance on your raft. We're going to pop a few examples up now on the screen so you can have a wee look. We'd love to see how you get on with your nature rafts. So if you want to join the Facebook group, get your grown-up to do that, and we'd love to see your pictures, maybe a little video of your raft floating about. Remember to pop back next month because I think we're going to have the second part of this story. We'll see what happens to Moses. See you soon.